Okay, this is the last formal Fragger video. I just want to tidy a few bits up. So this is after you've done the viewport code. So let's just run again, because I had to end it at the end because I couldn't work out how much time was left on my 2 gig limit. I was under. I could have gone on for a little bit more. So when we got the large level showing, and you can see we get our 2 viewports with our little margin, and I just want to show you the effect of changing the margin. Okay, so at the minute when we play the game, I can't remember what the keys are for the yellow one. No, H. Oh, that's it, right. So as I scroll around, I can see where the limit of my level is because I've got that green bar that represents my margin. Hopefully my particle effects work, even though it looks like the tank's farting. Yep, not the world's greatest dust effect, but no, I don't care. Right, so you can see that I'm drawn twice, and you can see where my limit is from the other player's box. Right, and both of them move independently, and if you keep your eyes on your screen, you should be able to see yourself all the time. See, and it just follows us when we wrap. And automatically the engine knows what size the world is, and it won't let the viewport, you can change that behavior, but it won't let the viewport go any further. Okay, so all of a sudden it stops centering, but when it can center, it does. If we put multiple players on, again we can see the margins. Now the margins are quite big, but let's have a look what happens if we took those margins off. Remember, we made a constant for this, so if we go to our view code and set the margin to 0, you'll see what the hideous effect of this is. You'd think, oh yeah, it maximises the amount of screen space everybody gets, but actually it's quite a negative thing. So let's go on to that level. You cannot see that there are 2 viewports there. Put it on 3 players and you can't. It just looks like a small level until you start playing it and somebody starts scrolling around. Then you get this hideous, it looks like it's broken or something. So you do need those margins. Maybe not 10. I'm going to set that to 5. Okay. And there's one other thing that I want to fix. I think I did say ages ago that we were going to do this, but I haven't. So I'm going to add that in now. Right, so let's just have a look at that larger level. Nice thinner border. 4 players on. Right. All the tanks are pointing in the same direction. I want to fix that. Okay, and we can do that quite easily by specifying in our level data, our start data. Okay, so I'm going to go to level data and I'm going to start with level 1 data, and I'm just going to add some new points, but I'm going to do it like this. I can only store points in this data. Alright, so I'm going to put 0.45, and I'm just going to copy that 3 times, and I'm going to put -45, then I'm going to put third player I want to point upwards. Hang on, being a bit thick at the minute. No, that one's third player's -45, so he's going to be pointing in that direction. Right, let's do a paint diagram here. Let's do a new one. Oh, how do you do new in this? New. No, I don't want to save that. Right, I want player 1 to point in that direction, player 2 to point in that direction, player 3 to point in that direction, player 4 to point in that direction. So this one is -45 degrees. This one is 45 degrees from north. This one is going to be 90 plus 45, and I'm going to be really lazy because I can't work that out. I'll get the computer to do that. It's a calculator. This one is -90 -45. So they're the numbers I'm going to use. So let's go back to my code. So the first one was 90 plus 45. So if you don't want to work it out, obviously that's 135, but I'm just showing you. This one is minus 90 minus 45. Play 3 is minus 45, and that one, no, play 3 is 45, play 4 is minus 45. Okay. Now I'm going to use that data, the same angles, to point each one. Now the X value I'm just going to ignore when I do this. So I'm using the Y value to specify an angle. So I'm going to add that data to the start data for level 2. If you want to move them around and make them point in a different direction, then obviously you're at liberty to change that. But for my example, that's what I'm doing. Make sure you've pasted this before the brace and semicolon. Okay. Right. By making a little change to my play game show level code, so go to play game show level code, I can now specify, because I set them all to 90 when I set the start. Remember this subroutine, set start, right click, go to definition, wanted an angle and the start position. If I do control minus, it will go back. Okay, so this is control minus, back to this code. So I'm not going to specify 90. I'm going to delete that, but I'm going to put this on the next line because it's quite long, that line. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to say assets, and then I'll explain. Let me just type this: assets.activeLevel dot actor start 4 plus I. Okay, and that's going to provide. I think I've done something stupid. Oh yeah, dot X, dot Y. Sorry. Okay, so I'm saying get the actor data for this tank. So the first tank is at 0, so actor data 0, but add 4 to it. So get the actual 5th bit of actor data and get the Y value for that actor data. So look back at the level data. So for player 0, that's his start position. So add 1, 2, 3, 4. We get to this value, and we want the Y amount, and that will give us the angle to show. Okay, so we said get the level data, but the 4th one along for this tank. This is where loops and arrays are really awesome. With a little bit of simple maths, adjusting numbers, adding, subtracting, we can do some quite complex things. But we haven't had to do anything horrible, we just added more data. All this program, this whole program, the whole point of it is it's data driven. So the level data can be easily changed, don't have to change any code. Where we start the tanks, we don't change any code, we just change data. Want to change the graphics? Yeah, create some different textures, change the rectangles. What graphics are in different places? Change the numbers. It's not program driven. We set the code up to be driven by the data. Okay, this is how you should always try and write your programs. So you've got like generic code that acts differently based on data. Right, let's run that and let's see what the effect of that is. So hopefully the tanks are going to be pointing a little bit. There you go, they're pointing down. So let's put the other players on. So F1, F1, and they're all pointing in, and they're all going to point at the same angles. Go on to that one. Gives everybody a fair crack at the wick. Right, now your jobs are, you've done everything. This is everything I'm going to show you, okay, in these video forms. Your job is to take this and make some interesting levels. Think of some different tiles that you might make. Create the graphics for them. Place them. If you want to do teleportation, there's nothing to stop you doing teleportation bricks. Okay, that's not a problem. There's nothing to stop you doing pickups, and I might do some extra odd videos for that. I'm gonna get the red. Okay, do different particle effects, but you need to experiment. You need to have a play. Oh, that was interesting. Okay, it's all about playing. Everything you do when you program should be about playing, experimenting. trying things. Things won't work. Things will break. Okay? You can't hurt yourself. You can't break the computer. If you don't experiment, you'll never get anywhere with programming. You got to experiment. You know, I've written thousands and thousands and thousands of programs. The majority of them, most of the things didn't work, but I learned something from them. And you always learn. The more you do, the more you learn. Okay? You never stop learning to program. I wish I had time to keep on top of it myself, because things change continually. How we should write programs changes. You know, recommendations, strategies, tools change, languages change, better languages come along that are more useful, better tools come along. You know, there are better ways of dealing with certain situations, and there's tons of stuff on the internet. Most people have been there first, and lots of people seem to be happy to share their knowledge. Okay, so no real excuse to not experimenting. So I'm here, I'll help you with ideas to expand these games. So I might do a couple of videos later on to show you how to do pickups. We've got everything stored in variables, so if you look at the tank stuff, there's nothing to stop us altering the speeds dynamically when the game's running, and then setting timers to reset them and stuff like that. Not a problem at all. Okay, there's nothing to stop us. Someone asked if they could drop a mine. Yeah, there's nothing to stop us doing that. It's just a bullet that doesn't move anywhere. Really, that's all it is. So I might show you a video just showing you some of that sort of interaction. But that's it. Take the game where you want. Try and create some interesting levels. One final thing just before we go. At the minute, let's run it again. I didn't mean to do that. I'll show you on my basic level. It's got a window. It's got a little gap. So at the top and bottom, on this one, I've got a gap. So I'll use the red tanks. I can't remember the keys for the yellow one. So I'll just go through it. If I shoot, so if I drive, I pop up the other one. If I shoot out of this gap, my bullets just disappear off screen. That's it. But there's nothing to stop me making them wrap round. Okay, so let's just do that. So let's go to our bullet code. And we want the bit that creates the bullet, which is that. So use the picker to find bullet. This creates it. Now we've got this kill, the bullet time thing, but we haven't got a limit box set. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to say s.limit initialize, and then we're going to say s.limit dot region action, and the region is going to be the size of the world. So we're going to say gm.engineManager.world rectangle, and we're going to say when you get to that limit, wrap exact. Okay, and by doing that, if we leave a gap, we can shoot bullets from one side of the screen to the other, which, if you want to get rid of the walls around the outside of a level, leaves you quite an open design. So you don't have to have walls around your level. So let's just run that and see what the effect is when I go up to my little hole. You won't notice it if you've got walls around because you haven't got any wrap ability. But if you've got gaps in your walls, like I have, you should see. Let's do it that way so you can see it. There you go. My bullets go right through. So if I was to take all the walls out, which I'm not going to do because it'll take me ages, then what you can do is make a level that has got nothing around the edge and then all the inside, and it becomes like you can't hide up against a wall because people can shoot from this side of the screen to the other and get you. So I can go down here. So yellow might, if I can figure out the keys for yellow, I think it was H. So yellow might think, can't hit me, can't hit me. I'm going to play in the sand. And then red goes, I can hit you. Got you. Okay. So that is just using the limit box on the bullets. It's the same limit box that we use for the tanks. So if you look at the tank code, there we go. Region action, wrap exact, world rectangle. So I've actually just used the exact same code for the tank and the bullet. Okay, right, that's it. Signing off.